What can you tell the public who are concerned about these shootings happening in very public spaces in most circumstances here?
Well, I'm not going to take 2 weekends and define that as what the city of Toronto is. I can tell you every time that there is a shooting in the city, I have a huge concern for that, as do the men and women of the Toronto Police Service. Having said that, is there a plan in play? Yes, there is a plan in play. We know that when we have most gunplay in the city, the vast majority of them have some street gang overtone to them. And so we know the specific people that we are looking for. It's not that we're naive as to what's going on. We do know what's going on. And now there is a plan in play to figure out what we can do from that particular area of community safety.
Okay, and when you talk about that plan, is there anything that you can divulge about that plan?
I could, but it'd be silly to divulge it. We're looking after people. No, we're looking for people that within their business processes will shoot another person, and I find that to be very egregious. I find that to be very unfair. And in recent history, people who should not have been struck by firearms are struck by firearms, and I don't want parents or moms or dads to be concerned about their kids in the city of Toronto in busy streets and there be gunplay. And so we have a plan with respect to what we're going to do to help reduce that specific type of behavior that's going on in our city. And I'm pretty comfortable with how things are going to play out.
Okay, the mayor put out a statement yesterday saying that more than 200 officers or around 200 officers will be hired sometime this year. Is that something, I know that's something the Police Association has been calling for, more officers on the job. Is that something that you think will help this in at least the short term?
Yeah, so when we talk about the modernization plan, we have been actively hiring, strategically hiring, and that hiring is not going to stop. So it's not just 200 netted ends. We'll continue to hire. The reason why we had to reduce at this particular point in time is because in order to get this right, we have to have stronger partnerships with other entities to be involved in community safety to make this work. The vast majority of calls that we do are non-police related. If I hire more officers in today's environment, we're going to be doing more of the non-policing things. So we're pulling other people into play to work with us so that they take an active role in community safety, number one. But number two, what type of resource do we have to have guard a scene? It should not be a highly trained police officer. We have so many things that police officers are doing right now. So police officers will be hiring, as well as special constables, to help keep the community safe, freeing up my frontline highly trained officers to be doing what they're needed to do the most. And there are a whole host of other things as well. When it looks at the calls we're doing, the types of calls we're doing, the dynamics of how crime has changed, I'm responsible for all aspects of community safety. The violent ones are the most important, but now with an aging demographic, now when we talk about technology and the role that it plays behind the doors, not in front of the doors anymore, we have so many people being victimized. We've got people that are killing themselves over being bullied and things along those lines. We have to collectively look at all those elements when it comes from crime, digitally as well as in the real world, and I have to be able to resource those things. And so that's what we're doing, making an organization that has a model that will deal with today's pressures.
There are critics out there who say that restrictions on carding that have been recently put in place, that's what's leading to this rash of gun violence over the last few weeks. What can you say to that?
Well, I've been pretty straightforward with, if we're going to talk about community safety, there are 3 buckets that are necessary. One, what do we do at the front end when these young men are making bad and to be quite frank, stupid decisions? So where the resources are in play, that reduces the workload for us when they do step over the line and they are shooting other people. Then, of course, at the back end, when it comes to the fact that they are going to get incarcerated, how long they're incarcerated for is irrelevant because 90% are going to get released at some point in time. And is this the best practice? I've made it very clear we're not going to arrest our way through this. We will deal with those immediate cases. When someone shoots somebody, I have a concern with that. We have to do what we need to do to resource. But there are a lot of moving parts when it comes to what are the causes of diminishing community safety. And that is an element. It is not the overall element. There are a whole other list of factors. We recognize that there's a social cost with all our decisions that are made in new policing. And we don't want to go back to where we were. We want to make sure that we get this right. Saturating a neighborhood sometimes it's not the best result for what we're looking for in today's environment.
What do you say to the public to reassure them that it's safe to come back downtown when all these shootings happen here?
Well, you're saying all these shootings, and this, like I said, these 2 weekends do not define the city of Toronto. If this is what was going on every single weekend, I'd have a concern. It is not, but I can tell you it's a small group of people that we are interested in, that we're conducting a very active investigation. And as we move forward, we hope that there's going to be an opportunity for that apprehension piece. But by and large, this still is an incredibly safe city. And the Toronto Police, the men and women, are doing a fantastic job out there, keeping everybody safe, and I think we'll continue to do just that.
Do you have any numbers on how many of these are gang related? How many of these shootings?
Well, when we talk about firearms plays, we cannot exclude over 90% of our gun play to be associated with street gang activity. And those are high numbers. And so we know that there's a small number of street gangs, 60 street gangs that are out there that are active right now. And right now we're looking at just a couple. So when you look at 2.8 million, and we're looking at a handful of people who are not sophisticated in any way, shape, or form, but are making dumb decisions and pulling a trigger of a gun in the city of Toronto, I have a concern with that. And so that's first and foremost. Those are the people that I want apprehended. And then let's look at the other aspects that I spoke about before to reduce those people from making stupid decisions. Then, of course, when you do make a bad decision like that, you've got to be incarcerated.